Hi, it's Graham Wilson here and welcome to day 5 of our personal leadership challenge. I'm really excited today to be able to share with you some thoughts and ideas around how you build winning teams, and I want to take you through the process of how I actually do that. So we've been developing teams here at Success Factory for over 26 years now, teams from all around the world, different cultures, different formats, different outputs, different things, different sizes, and there's a common theme that actually comes through all of that team development stuff and all the things that we learned. So I really want to share that with you today. Now, teams are so important in today's world, aren't we? We're in a foggy world. We're not really sure what the problems are. We're not really sure what the solutions are. And we need to come together, don't we, and collaborate, particularly now we're facing this virus challenge, this COVID-19 challenge. And it's really important that we start to use the intellectual capital we have, and how we collaborate, how we come together, how we work together effectively with teams is really important. Added to that, of course, right at this moment, we're all quarantined, we're all at lockdown in our homes. So this added challenge of how we work virtually, how we work remotely is becoming more and more apparent. And I think that's going to be a catalyst for change, because I think more and more teams are going to work in this new way going forward. So how do we now start to develop these teams? How do we build trust if we're not co-located? How do we actually make sure that teams are performing? How do I get comfortable as a manager not actually seeing my team every day? How do I actually get comfortable with letting go, and how do I make sure that we're all working really hard to deliver extraordinary results? So that's really what I want to share with you, and some ideas. And you did promise, didn't you, on the previous module not to leave your organization and become a team building consultant after this video. So what I'm going to share with you is the dynamite process, the key things that we've learned over the years, and how we develop teams here at Success Factory. So let me give you 2 words to have a think about. So in this hand I put the word relationships, and this hand I put the word deliverables, and ask you which one of those 2 do we tend to get measured on. And typically it tends to be deliverables, isn't it? That's the thing that organizations want us to do in our teams. And when you think about that concept, relationships are really important, but also deliverables are important, and they're combined. It's not an or, it's and the danger is when we spend too much time on deliverables. So the concept I want to share with you really is around what we call the dead body syndrome, and the danger we have as leaders if we see ourselves as the hub. If we are the hub and the font of knowledge, and we build this working group around us, and we manage this team, and we micromanage this team, and we put controls in place, we have procedures in place, we have these management review meetings where we get each person to tell us what they've been doing, and it's all updating and all that sort of type stuff. And that was okay in the old world, but in this fluid, more agile, fast-moving world we live in now, we need to start to change that and start to move into more of a leadership role. And leadership really is around how I enable my team to be successful, how I get other people to fix things, how do I ask those challenging questions, get the team harnessed in the right direction, start to deliver. So it's more about a supporting role, and I'm building this self-managed team that's going out there and delivering amazing results. That means I can support them, I can enable them, I can coach and can develop them. So we don't get caught up in the transactional stuff, and I don't become this paternalistic leader where I go away for holiday for a couple of weeks and the whole team falls down and it all goes horribly wrong, and I come back on my white horse and I rescue the day. It makes me feel great, and the team love me because I give them that direction, and they're always asking me questions. I'm always busy, and I get up on that hamster wheel, don't I, where I'm busy, and I can't cope anymore. So I go on another holiday, and when I go on another holiday, it all falls down again, and I get ill because I've been working so hard. And the second week of my holiday, I'm thinking about what's happening back at the team, and the team are actually falling apart in disarray because I'm this font, if you like, of all knowledge. I'm the hub. And what we need to do is to remove ourselves from that, actually start to develop our team, to develop the skill and knowledge and the capability of our team to be able to operate in self-managed ways. And that's the process I want to do. So the danger we have, of course, with focusing on deliverables, if we have a high focus on deliverables and low focus on relationships, we get into this quadrant, which I call the dead body quadrant. And what happens is, when you first start getting team, the performance is okay, increases, flattens off, and then starts to go on a slippery slope. When it goes on the slippery slope, that's when we normally get a phone call and it says, go something like, Graham, I don't know what's happened to the team, but we're in conflict, we're in disarray, we're not delivering what we should do. We decided we need an away day. And then they'll say something which always makes me laugh. They say something like, do you do paintballing? Which obviously, when you think about that, the team's in disarray and now they want to come to us for a day to shoot each other. It's not a really good metaphor, is it, for high performance and building trust and getting to really know people. So you can go and do that, of course, it's good fun. But in the context of high performance teams, there's other things that we can be doing to be more successful. And that's a really good indicator for me that the leader really is very task focused, very delivery focused, and hasn't really spent enough time on relationships. Spending one day on relationships on an away day isn't going to really cut it, really. Relationships are deliverables. Building trust in your team is a deliverable. Getting to know each other is a deliverable. Understanding what people's strengths are is a deliverable. And it's things that we need to do in order to be successful in when we're leading teams. And of course, it's no good if we're not focused on deliverables and not focused on relationships. Of course, get unhappy people and poor results. It's equally just as bad, by the way, to create this amazing, wonderful, lovey-dovey culture where we all love each other. It's like a country culture, and no one's really held accountable, and everyone loves you, and it's great, and bean bags and pool tables and snacks and all that stuff. And what happens is we create an environment where it's high focus on relationships, but not enough on deliverables. And what we need to do, of course, is to focus on both. It's an and situation. We need to focus on relationships, a high focus on relationships, and a high focus on deliverables. And when we do that, we get into that quadrant, which I call the high performance quadrant, where we've got a high challenge, high support environment where people will astound you with the results they can achieve. And that's really what I want to get to. And the secret really for team building is around, don't focus on deliverables first, focus on the relationships first, and almost like go around this wall. If we focus on the deliverables first, what happens is we create a barrier which we can't get past because the trust is broken, the relationships aren't there, and we're going to really struggle to get to high performance. If we build relationships first, we almost like go around this barrier and we then create this high performance culture. So my advice to you is to see relationship building as a deliverable and make sure that we get the balance right. And certainly early on in the days of team development, when you've got a new team, is to really focus your energy and effort on building the relationships, building the team, and then you can put your foot on the accelerator to really focus. So what we want to do is create a situation, particularly when we're in remote teams, where we need to deliver results, don't we? And clearly we need our team to be accountable because as leaders we can't deliver all those results ourselves. If we do, then we're going to make ourselves ill, aren't we? And we're not going to perform at the highest level. It's not sustainable, is it, to do that? So what we need is to create this team who are delivering results. Now, what that means is we need accountability from each of our team members to do their bit, even if we're not there, even if they're working from home, even if they are not managed from a central location. And I think that's really around the ability to create commitment. And one of the things I've learned about working with teams is that when you include people, you're more likely to get commitment. So have an inclusive decision-making process, an inclusive way to develop plans, an inclusive way of working, whether that's virtually or whether it's together in teams, is really, really important, because when you get that inclusive decision-making process, you get the commitment, you get the accountability, you get great results. Now, what enables you to get that inclusive decision-making process is the amount of ability and safety that you build in a team for the team to be able to challenge each other, to confront each other, almost like move into conflict and disagree with each other, but for the right intent. And that's really about the ability to build trust. And of course, trust comes from understanding each other and building really powerful relationships. So we have to do that first. We get the trust in place, people will say what they think and feel. If we get that situation, we're going to get an inclusive decision-making process. We're going to use all the intellectual capital we have in our team. We're more likely to get commitment, we're more likely to get accountability, we're more likely to get great results. So the question is, how do I build my team really quickly? So when we get this phone call from the leader who has the team's in disarray ground to do paintballing, well, we chuckle a little bit and tease the leader a little bit about that. But what we do really then is we arrange a journey process. We don't believe in the one-off hit, and team development is a journey. And what we do is we get the team together, we have some fun together, we get them relaxed, we create a safe environment. We create an environment where their brains start to slow down, they start to understand what they're doing and the importance of team working and this new world we live in, and share some of the insights that I've shared with you so far in terms of leadership and new world and old world thinking. And what we then do is we get the team to get together in the Success Factory in the main room there, and we'll just ask them 6 questions. So all I do is grab a piece of paper and grab a pen and think about the team, a team or any team that you're involved in, and think about if you could answer these questions for your team. So the first question is all about, what is the team's purpose? So on a bit of paper, write down what you think the team purpose is. The second question is really about the people in your team. Do you know what motivates them, what demotivates them, what makes them mad, what makes them sad, what makes them glad? What are their strengths? All those good things which are really important to know about each other. Do you know their career history, what they've done, their experiences? Do you really understand how to get the best out of each other? All those sort of key things. So what I'm asking you there really to think about is, have you spent time getting to understand your team and building trust? The third question really is around your team principles or your team values. What are your values and principles that guide you? So one of those examples is from Legacy, and one of the aspects that the All Blacks have is they have a set of 15 principles, 15 players in the team on the pitch, and they have 15 principles. And one of those principles is around supporting the value of humility, and the principle is to sweep the shed. And what that means is that you might be the best player in the world or the best team or part of the best team in the world, but at the end of the match, you clean the dressing room. You make sure it's clean and ready for the next team. And that's an idea of a value that's translated into a principle, which then is going to drive the right behavior. And when you've got that in place and got that clarity in place of what your purpose and what your principles are, then you can hold each other accountable to make sure that we do the right things. So the third question was about principles. The fourth question really is around performance. So how do you know you're successful as a team? What's your measurement criteria? What's your output? What is it you need to do as a team to be successful? So that's the fourth one. The fifth one is around your team processes, and typically in work teams, these tend to be the meeting structures, don't they? The drum beat, if you like, your rituals and routines of the team. So what are your different meetings you have there? The sort of the huddles, the tactical meetings, the review meetings, the problem-solving meetings, 90-day strategy planning sessions, all those sort of type meetings need to be agreed with clear terms of references and understanding what they're all for, what they are and what they're not. So that's the fifth question about processes. And the final question, number 6, is really about what is it you want to be famous for. So number 6 is all about pride. And one of the things I noticed when I left the military was that in a lot of teams in industry and the commercial world is there's a lack of pride, and we need to bring that pride back and make sure people are operating from a sense of identity. And what we then do is once we've asked those 6 questions to each person in the team, collectively in one go, we do a bit of a show and tell. Now, this is the revealing part. So clearly in a team that's been set up for success, when I get them to share the answers, they're more than likely going to get very similar answers. What you get in most teams that haven't been set up, and let's face it, most teams don't really get set up for success, they just get into delivery mode straight away, is you find misalignment. You just find different purposes, you find different principles, different views on the outputs and the outcomes, and the processes haven't been agreed, and they wonder why they're not performing at the highest level. And having a structure and a team process in place, because for teams to be really successful, what we need is we need great team spirit. We need to be able to have fantastic team processes in place, and we need to have the team skills in place to deliver the outputs we need based on the context that we're actually in. And those key things are really important. That's one of our high performance models we focus on, team spirit, team process, and team skills. And this 6 P's, you might recognize these 6 P's of purpose, people, principles, performance, process, and pride. They are the key things that are going to set your team up for success. Now, obviously, once you've created that, and we've done the show and tell, and we realise we're misaligned, we then spend some time, making sure we get a plan on a page. I call it the team canvas, and we just agree the answers collectively to those 6 questions. We know what our purpose is. We know what our principles are. We know what motivates and demotivates each person. Things like the Facet 5 and strengths and MBTI and insights and DISC and all those sort of great tools are good to understand it. You can just ask questions like, get a flip chart and say to people, or do it virtually, electronically, go, what makes you mad, what makes you sad, and what makes you glad? And make sure you share those sort of things and make sure that you don't get into the mad and sad bit and you focus on the glad bit. Getting people to identify strengths and giving people feedback on what you think their strengths are. All those sort of things are really important so that we can make sure that we're playing to position. So they are key aspects. And once we've done that, we create a one-pager, and on the website where growmuslim.com/leadership inspirations, you'll see a download, a little PDF document, a guide that will take you step by step to actually run a 6 P's workshop, which will set your team up success. So download that, have a look at. There's examples of team charters there. They're made up examples because I don't think it's fair to share other people's team charters. That's confidential. So I've made some examples to give you there to have a look at. But it gives you a guide of step by step about how to actually do it, how to set up a workshop, how to run it, how to get people to come up with ideas, and then how to formulate it. Now, once you've got that, of course, that's just a starting point. The next point of that, of course, once you've got your team canvas, is to keep it alive. So this is where the sustaining high performance comes in. And the same high performance really is around getting a drumbeat in place. And this is around getting your meetings and spending time reviewing and reflecting as a team. So how are we feeling? What's working? What's not working? Are the behaviors right? Are we living our values? Are we living our principles? Yeah, are we sweeping the shed? Yeah, are we humble? All those key things are really important to review, not just the output of the team, i.e. the activities and the things we've achieved, but also how the team is working. And I'm going to do another video a bit later on around the importance of reviewing. So don't worry about if you're not sure about how to do that, because I think it's such an important topic that a lot of teams don't do. They don't spend enough time really reflecting and doing the after action review process of getting to understand what's working, what's not working, but at different levels, and then really understanding that and then driving some improvement going forward. So I'll share that in a separate video for you. On this video, I just wanted to share with you the importance of setting your team up for success and then making sure you sustain performance. So hopefully that's given you a good idea about how we build teams. Of course, when we're doing it at Success Factory, we like to use the outdoors, we like to get nature, we like to give the team problem solving, we like to give them experiential activities so they can start to see it come to life and see the different ways of working and different ways of decision making, and actually seeing some of these real behaviors in place, and pushing people past their comfort zone as well. So we make it fun, we make it engaging, but that's how we build teams in Success Factory. And that can be done in the workplace as well. And that can be done certainly virtually. I've built quite a few virtual teams over the years, and it takes a bit more time. It takes a bit more time to build trust because you're not in the same room together, but the process really works. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on. Download the guide, read through it, get in there, build a workshop. Maybe the first step you can do is tomorrow is go out there and ask your team those 6 questions and see what they come up with. And if they're all the same, that is amazing. Well done, you. If they're not, then you know what to do, don't you? So tomorrow is all about how you plan in these crazy worlds. How do I plan where we don't know where we're going, we're not sure what's happening, we're not sure what the problems are, not really sure what the solutions are. We're in this crazy volatile world. So how do I plan effectively? How do I create a strategy? What is strategy really? And how do I make sure that I create these plans on a page to drive performance forward at whatever level, whether you're a senior director of a global organization, or whether you're that hub of the business, building teams at team leader level and middle management where you're really getting your team's working. So I'm going to share with you how you plan effectively with that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As you can tell, I love team building. It's one of my passions, and I really believe that when we spend the time getting to know each other, building trust, working out what we need to do, working out how we're going to do it, agreeing a team charter, creating a plan, then we're going to be successful. So I wish you well, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.